Welcome to The Uniformer. Insights into and interviews with the people and companies that drive the markets for uniforms, image apparel, public safety, and workwear.
Hello, welcome to The Uniformer. I'm Rick Levine, president here at the NAUMD, and thrilled to be sitting here with this guy up north in Canada. Introduce yourself, please, Gavin.
Thanks, Rick. Hi. My name is Gavin Rich. I'm president of a company called Tough Duck. We are a safety, work, and outdoor apparel company founded in 1939.
Yeah, 1939. So I know I sent you a few questions in advance, but I'm really intrigued by what I've learned looking into this conversation here is that you're like third generation, Gavin, right?
That's correct. Yeah, Rick. My grandfather, we come from actually generations of people in the apparel business back in Europe. I believe 7 generations of tailors and people in this business. So I had really no choice, I guess. My grandfather came here, worked for various other apparel companies as a cutter, and he went to. The story was he went to his boss and asked for a raise. His boss gave him that raise. When he got his paycheck later that Friday, was the pink slip in there firing him, and he had to start his own business. So him and my grandmother started in their basement, and that was the origins.
So just in the basement, they just started cutting and sewing, like
in a catalog. Yeah,
exactly. House right in their basement. Yeah,
making wool pants, wool work pants.
Wool pants, right? Yes. Are you still making wool pants, Mr. Rich?
No, sir. But I've got some great flex wool pants if you need some.
Yeah, I know that's like one of your best sellers is those flex pants, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're super positive, not just your personality, but the business is like super positive. You guys are experiencing increasing demand for safety apparel is what you've been reporting. And so, I mean, what do you attribute that to? And what are they asking for? So they're not asking for wool pants anymore,
no.
Kevin. What are they asking for? What are customers? What are you seeing as the demand out there?
Excellent. Thank you. I would say that one interesting perspective, maybe, Rick, is up here in Canada. Even though like our office, our warehouse is literally 70 minutes away from the U.S. border, so we can service U.S. customers extremely quickly and extremely well. But up here, we're a different country, and the difference, one of the differences is Canada is quite highly regulated. So maybe about 20 years ago, we noticed here in Canada a real increase in high visibility workwear. And we were making classic canvas 12 and 10 ounce duck workwear and really, really high quality stuff. And I'm actually looking out my window about 20 years ago, and I see a crew across the street wearing our garments, but realizing they're probably going to be wearing high visibility in the next little while. There's some trends going on in Europe. There's some trends going on here in Canada that I think is going to actually spread across the global uniform and apparel industry. So we were very fortunate that early on in the early 2000s, we kept and kept growing our workwear business, but we started a new safety division because we saw this trend towards personal safety, higher regulations, higher insurance, more onerous insurance type of regimes where companies, where if they outfitted their crews in high visibility and made sure they had that safety, they would save some money in terms of making sure that their crews and their people were safe. So we saw that trend early on and made a lot of mistakes, made a ton of mistakes as we learned the business. As a manufacturer, seriously, it's a whole different. It's almost like not making a tool as compared to making a garment. It's just a different way of looking at a piece of apparel when you're making safety. So we saw that increase in safety. We got into that business early, made our mistakes, and then when those regulations and the demand for personal safety started to penetrate, especially in the U.S., that was a great time for us to launch, and we were ready. We were ready because we were sort of working on the Canadian regulations, and when US was ready for it, we were there, and sort of innovators and ahead of the market.
Very interesting. I guess I hadn't really thought about that, but growing up, I guess I wouldn't have seen highway, construction workers in high visibility. I don't know when 3M came up with
With
the
Scotch Light, yeah,
yeah, with the Scotch Light, and I know that there's many others producing product,
absolutely.
but I think they were among the first that kind of helped launch all of that. But I guess I didn't really think about that. That was so good for you for seeing that that was going to be a critical, component. And then here in the U.S., we get those three ANSI. It's not a law, but it's as close to a law, right, as we get with the ANSI compliance. Is it similar in Canada? Same kind of tiered structure?
Interesting. In Canada, it's heavily regulated, so we do have it's either provincial or by state. So
Oh,
it depends, but we're more regulated up here in Canada. However, one trend that we are seeing is not so much in the uniform industry, but in the retail industry. High visibility apparel is at the back of the store. It's at the bottom shelf. It's that tomato soup can that you have to go down and get because it's a basic. It's a must-have. So the
hmm,
regulations, Rick, are happening on the workplace. So people are coming into our customers and saying, "Hey, I've got to have some, steel toe boots or composite toe
hmm.
boots, or I need safety footwear, or I need to have a certain ANSI class to work on this job site." So that is really, really, to me, it seems to be very workplace driven, and
Hmm.
as compared to Canada, where it's more maybe government driven.
So mainly high vis, but you guys make a lot of product, Gavin.
We do, we do. What we
So
did, Rick, is we never stopped, or we were always and still are a workwear company. So we continued our workwear business and grew that, and then started a brand new division in high visibility and also grew that. We're actually high visibility and workwear are now just about even, depending on the year. One can kind of go depending one is higher than the other, but we have like two really, really strong businesses that we manage that way.
yeah, absolutely. And as I'm browsing the best sellers there on the other screen on your website, toughdoc.com, I'm, there's of course because you're at a higher longitude,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
longitude. You've got warm stuff. You're doing a lot of quilting still, right? I mean,
Yeah,
still almost.
Rick, that's our heritage. I mean, we're in, a place called Winnipeg, Canada, which is where our head office is. Our
Yeah,
heritage is cold weather clothing. We
yeah.
are literally 3 blocks away from Portage in Maine, which is the coldest corner. We've got Chicago beat by many, many negative degrees. It's the coldest corner and windiest corner by far. We experience really, really harsh conditions here. But that's been our heritage, Rick. But right now, one of the largest causes of fatalities and injury in the workplace today is heat exhaustion. So many years ago, we realized we had to, not just be a cold weather company, but actually be an extreme weather company and make sure that we're protecting people no matter what the weather is. So that's why we have our cooling technology garments. We've got all kinds of different conditions. So now people can stay safe and either cool or warm or in the right temperature for no matter how long their day might be.
I love that. So is cooling technology one of the most interesting innovations of late, or what other fabric or construction or comfort, right? I know everyone says stretch when we talk about that, right? But you know, um, so what are you getting asked for performance? And maybe you've already answered me, and I'm just making you repeat yourself.
Oh
But
no! Well, I mean, you,
you
you
know,
mentioned stretch, Rick. I mean that's still really, really important.
yeah.
Fabrics are becoming, they can still maintain durability, and yet be lighter, more comfortable, have some more features, can be waterproof, can be breathable, can be wicking in terms of cooling, can be warming. So what we're finding is that stretch still is very important. Comfort is super important. Pockets are super important, right? So those types of innovations are what our customers are asking for. Really, and then the uniform side of things. I mean, uniform means consistency, and that's the key. That's the key. And little things like if the people that wear our garments and Tough Duck garments, they're out in the elements or they're out working hard, the fabric can't fade. With sun, that can happen with cheaper, high visibility fabrics. You'll see it in stores. Sometimes if they're by the window and they're not the right fabrics, they fade and then they lose their effectiveness in the marketplace. So things like that are just consistency, quality, the same thing as always, and just really that stretch and lightness of fabric and more pockets are what people are really looking for. We're finding that our better selling and our transitions are really going towards lighter, tougher, and maybe a bit more tailored type of looks.
Tailored.
I would say maybe that's a wrong word to use. Maybe streamlined, maybe less boxy, maybe a bit more fitted for the younger customer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm an old heavy dude, so I can't do that.
Me too. But one trend we're seeing is the
slim jean phenomenon.
Yeah. I mean, one of the trends we're seeing is we have a jogger pant. It's a stretch jogger. We do it in both safety and in uniform colors. It's meant for that younger silhouette. It's got a tighter bottom on the ankle and really comfortable, lots of pockets, very stretchy, great to work in all day. So that's where we see our trends, our cooling technology, that type of thing.
So tailored, what you more mean is that it's styled, right? Like
styled. That's the wrong word. Yes,
yeah.
I would say our heritage can be we're known for a very generous and perhaps in the old days more of a boxy fit. Now we're bringing stuff in for a much younger consumer. They're asking for a better fit.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, this goes into design heavily, right? And part of your pitch has been, and I think you may have even said it in this conversation so far, is that companies will save time and money based on their based on the design of their workwear. How does that translate?
Well, the way I would look at it, Rick, is there's many tiers, of course, in apparel in the uniform industry, right? And what we find is that Tough Duck is a better, best brand. We don't compromise on anything. So what that means is we have really, really wide size ranges. So those size ranges are so important for our customers so that they can fit an entire crew. I would say that. Sorry, the question. I'm losing my train of thought
I was
here.
going off on the time and savings.
Oh yeah, of course. So what it is that we can
is that so.
Yeah, so one of the things that we can do is we've got over 500,000 square feet of distribution space, so we can hold contracts for our customers. So if we have a major contract, we'll make sure that we have that inventory ready for our customers when they need it. Many uniform companies are just their storefronts. They've made a massive order to the crews, and then new people join. And as new people join, they go to that store. We've got that inventory in any size, consistent, that they can do that. So the quality that we use, you mentioned Scotchlite earlier. Often we use 3M Scotchlite or 3M reflective material. We're one of their largest customers, and it's really important to us because you could really save a lot of money on reflective tape. However, it's the first thing to go in a garment. So if you've got the right partners and you've got the right reflective tape, for example, it might be a bit expensive going into it, but you've got 3-4 more years after that garment is still going to last. So that quality piece is really, really important to me. That's what our customers come to us for. They're not getting the cheapest price by far, but they are getting the best value from us, and that's how they can save money. And then depending on our inventory, nobody has to carry stuff. They can just depend on us to ship for those new crews. And I mean, we've got about a year and a half's worth of inventory, pretty much at any time. So
Wow.
even in the middle of middle of the summer, our customers are getting things embroidered and ready and getting their kits ready. So that's how we try to save our customers money. And we just try to be very, very transparent. We want to work with people. We're here because we want to be there. We love our business. We love what we do, and to do that, we want to make sure that we have that value for our customers. So we hold inventory, make great quality, and make sure our garments last a good long time.
So multi-generation, and you were actually, you had sewers, and you were, making all the stuff right there on site, right? Part of the reason maybe you still have half a million square feet worth of of storage space. But I know you told me pretty recently you started manufacturing more globally. And how's the company doing with that shift?
Well, you know what? Being a manufacturer first means that we manufacture everything that we make. So we do not buy anything ready-made, as they say, from a factory. Everything we do is a pattern that comes here from our head office in downtown Winnipeg. We spec our own fabric. We make sure that, or raw materials. We have direct relationships with our raw material suppliers. We engineer and design every single piece that comes out of here, which is super important. Which speaks to our heritage. And then we know how garments are made, and then we just manufacture in a different place. Is really what it is. And what it is because what's going on right now in overseas production is there's so much amazing technology out there, Rick, and our partners are just moving so quickly that just North America and apparel just couldn't keep up with, to be honest. So it's not just
Agreed.
It used to be about price going overseas. Now it's actually about innovation, quality, the latest machines, the latest processes, latest installations, latest cooling technology. It's much different than it used to be. These factories overseas are some of the most sophisticated, most incredible manufacturing apparel productions I've ever seen. So it's really, really interesting that way. So, but that manufacturing knowledge is what comes in for us.
Absolutely. And I'm loving this phrasing. I'm gonna credit you, but pass that spin on it on. And it's not really a spin. We may have for decades been chasing the lowest wage, right? That is, of course, what the US and North America did in general, right? One could argue we went to Mexico first, and then we, and then we went, and we still have members of the NAUMD that have massive, production in Mexico, and it's great. I'm not dissing Mexico, but then so we go to where there's sewers. Now one of the biggest complaints, and I know I'm bouncing around a bit, biggest complaints I hear from folks in your position, Gavin, is, well, I couldn't hire 100 sewers today even if I wanted to. Right?
Couldn't if we wanted to.
Yeah. So it's but it's very interesting to hear you talk about how impressed you are with yes, I can get the price point I need, but more importantly is that's where the textiles, most interesting performance textiles, are being innovated and produced, right? Is China and other, or India or other places where, where that might be happening. And so it's not just about the price point anymore. This is, that's very interesting. Yeah. And one of the places for innovation and requests has, of course, been this global movement to outfit women, not just as a smaller man.
Huge.
So, yeah, it's huge. So how has the journey into women's workwear been for Tough Duck?
Great, thanks for that question. The change, Rick, on that one, and it started here in Canada, but now we're seeing it in the United States. So what it was is that we don't sell direct. We work with uniform distributors, retailers, industrial companies, that type of base. So we wouldn't sell direct ourselves. What we found from our customers, and this really surprised us, to be honest, a number of years ago, is there was a time when, first of all, the first trend was there was a time when those bigger sizes, those 4X, 5X individuals, it was okay for them in the past to look different from the rest of their crew. They were smaller, they were larger, they were outside, they were taller, whatever. They were outside of that regular little size grid. It was acceptable in the older days to have them wear something different. No longer is that acceptable. Men, women, no matter what your size, no matter what it is, you must be, I'll use the word, uniform.
No,
because
we like that word.
we love that word.
The rest of the world doesn't.
But it just means uniform means consistency. So that trend has really been strong for us, and that means that and also okay. So then okay, great. So we all the industry, we've got our big sizes, we've got now our small sizes. Now our customers and those distributors are coming to us and saying it's no longer acceptable that everybody has the same garment and in the same uniform now. Now it has to fit properly. They're working in these things. Nobody, a smaller person, no matter who it is, woman or man, doesn't want sleeves over their hands or big bulky stuff. So things need to be fitted. So now with our women's line, we're fitting things for a woman that's working all day, and that way when we sell for a uniform contract, everybody on that crew, no matter what their size, no matter what their gender, are wearing the exact same garment and fitted and looking professional. That's the trend that I've been seeing, and that's where women's is coming in. Still, women are it's still an emerging business. The whole industry is still trying to figure it out. It depends what segment you're in, but certainly the trend is women demand and they deserve a proper fitting work garment and safety garment where the striping is proper, where their safety isn't being compromised. And that's certainly something that's happening. But we're still trying to figure things out there for sure.
How many countries are you selling in? I know you do a lot in Canada and the US, but
Canada, the US, and then we do little bits in Europe, little bits in Japan, South Korea. We've got dealers, some little dealers. We've got a little following, a little bit of a cult following. One of the great things is in Japan right now and in Europe is in the thrift stores and secondhand stores. Top Duck is selling for unbelievably high prices. We're happy to see. So it's great.
Wow.
Vintage workwear is a big thing right now in Europe.
Is it really?
So absolutely, absolutely.
I didn't know that, actually. That's
Yeah.
surprising. I didn't know that. So outside of North America, or is there a vintage workwear?
I would say all over. But you're seeing some really ridiculous prices. Our team was out in Europe doing some market shops and stumbled in a thrift shop, in a secondhand store, in a high street, in a nice place, and found one of our jackets selling for quite a lot.
Wow, that's so fun. I hadn't really thought about that. You're reminding me of a brief period when the famous music rappers were wearing EMS, jackets and stuff, and suddenly our industry's like, well, wait, these jackets are like, we're losing their stock to what you're calling high street, right? Because Barney's in New York was stocking EMT jackets for a brief period. I don't think it's the case anymore, but
what is the case, Rick, is maybe in the past where our customers were asking us for cheaper, and where, because at a consumer would go into a store or go into a distributor, they would buy something and they would last a year, or they would have a bunch of them in their closet and kind of disposable. We're finding that certainly the newer consumer, they're looking for one good piece. or two good pieces, and that's where we can come in because when you buy anything Tough Duck, it's going to last. So it's something that today's consumer is looking for. They want more. They'd rather focus on something really good and keep that than keep buying and keep cycling.
And is that a conscious thing related to the sustainability
Yes.
mindset?
Yes, it sure is. It
Okay.
sure is. One of the great points of sustainability is quality, right? Make the product last in the first place. Don't be disposable.
So, as a business, I remember talking to a supplier who does a lot of grocery stores, and they felt a little guilty. They're like, you know how high the turnover is for employees at these stores,
So
right?
yeah.
And he's like, so we keep selling them stuff, and I
Yeah.
feel a little bad because, they're not like other places in the world willing to just say, well, free to quit. So here's her t-shirt, you wear it, right? We don't do that here in the US. We don't pass on the apparel because, right? So maybe in an industrial laundry program. So I should correct myself. So
Right,
if you're
sure.
doing that kind of program, but for home wash, that's not really the way it works. So how do you reconcile that though, as a company, that you're almost like giving up profit because you're not going to sell them that new item each year? You're going to, it's going
Oh,
to be
love
every
it. That's
3 years.
that's our value proposition, Rick. Please.
Hmm.
We made a label. Everybody goes through brand journeys, and we consolidated everything into Tough Duck maybe about 8 years ago or 9 years ago. We had it sort of some tiered brands.
Oh, you
Well,
did? Oh,
I
okay.
still see, and we changed we had a few label changes. I'm still seeing garments on the street, no matter where I go, that have that old label on them. Some of them are
Hmm.
like I just saw a construction crew wearing a garment that was 15 years old. I mean, I love it. I love it. That's our value proposition. I'm happy not to sell anybody every year if they're enjoying their Tough Duck garment and it's lasting and protecting them and keeping them safe and protected. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that it reminds me now of a few minutes ago we were talking about this, and I meant to say it at the time. The part of what our industry, and you included, offer is education in that high vis viability, in
Yes.
the sense that you have to. They're not all the same, and 15 years later, you cannot expect the luminescence to be what you probably need it to be. I know you were talking about 15 years, that just the construction of
Yeah.
a jacket being solid, but it's also an important point. Like, that's how we educate, is to say, what will wear and tear and not perform to specification over what period of time.
Depends on the job. Excuse me. Depends on the job. Depends on the application of the wearer. But that's the value proposition.
Yeah.
And so for sure. I mean, workwear wears out, of course, right?
Yeah.
People wearing that
Yeah,
are working. They're working hard. They're working hard.
It's a textile, and
It is. It is.
and we're wearing it all the time. It's
Of
not,
course.
Yeah.
But the choices we make, I think I mentioned to you earlier. I mean, we're a family-owned company. We don't have to worry about the next quarter. We don't have to worry about pleasing Wall Street. So if we choose to spend an extra, invest more in better materials, that's what we do. We're really happy to do that.
Is there a fourth generation coming on?
Sure hope so. I've got three kids. My oldest son is currently working in a startup company, in a tech company, getting some really, really great experience.
Mhm.
It was always, I worked outside of the business. I'd worked here all my life.
Mhm.
Started age 2 counting buttons, worked in our cutting room, worked in our factory, outlet stores throughout high school and college. However, my advice was to go out and get some other experience. So I did work outside of the company for about 8 years, and then rejoined later on, and that experience is great. So my oldest son is currently getting some great experience in the tech startup world, and he's expressed lots of interest in coming in, but when the time is right for him. So he doesn't want to just walk in and
I think that's a wonderful approach. I think that's hard for family businesses to have people come in right away, and they don't get a chance to kind of prove themselves in the world and understand who they are, perhaps as a person. Maybe they're going to compete a little too much with family members um, for whatever, right? Emotional energy is required.
You hit on a very, very important point. This is I'm just going to give a quick plug. I'm on the our local university School of Business. There
Hmm.
is a family business council, which I'm on. I am
Oh,
very, very involved in the study and succession ideas in sort of almost the science of family business.
yeah.
Many of our members, Rick, are family businesses, and
Hmm.
it's a science now. It's studied in universities, and there's certain check marks and certain best practices that family companies can do, which I was, we as a company, our whole family, I thank them so much, are so willing to adopt. And because normally, Rick, a family company will fail not because of their business integrity, but because of the infighting or because of lack of
Hmm.
direction. So that's just a quick plug on the family business side. It's really, really important for longevity, and it's really, really important if for long-term value of a business. So it's something I'm very involved in as a third generation family owner.
That is super interesting. I hadn't heard of somebody actively involved in the study of the mechanics of a family business. I've often quoted the late Michael Spiewak, who had, the Spiewak brand was a
Absolutely.
like 5 generation company. And he once said to me, I was like, what's it like to be 100-year-old company? And he said, Rick, the only thing you're guaranteed about being 100-year-old company is that you'll die 100-year-old company. And he's like, so the important thing was, he's like, innovation. He's like, you have to
Yes.
keep innovating, which throughout our conversation, you have, repeatedly talked about taking what you're hearing in the marketplace, watching for trends, innovating, even going to places in the world where the innovation might be, stronger and more helpful than just your own backyard. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have to, Rick. It's a great industry. It's exciting. It moves quickly. It's growing, and it's yeah. No, there's lots of opportunity out there, but you have to stay ahead. And it's not just garments either. Like behind the scenes, right? We just put
Mm,
in a new computer ERP system so
mm,
we can manage our data better, be better for our customers. I mean, that's been a very painful process, but
mm.
that you have to keep up with things. And so for us, we're proud. I can really say that we are the innovators in high vis apparel and workwear in our marketplace.
Nice.
We'll come out with things first. We're really, really happy to take those risks.
Is AI playing a role for you yet?
It's a great question. Of course it is. You can't avoid it, whether it's just going to a chat bot and asking where I should take a customer for dinner to so
I
many
love
other
that.
to
Yeah.
data to everything. We're currently struggling with AI right now in our company. And
Mm.
when I say that, I mean we don't know how confidential it is.
Uh,
We're afraid to get our company data out there. We want to be secure. So of course we're using it. There's great tools out there. AI
yeah.
is a tool. I was at a conference and the CEO of Walmart Canada spoke and said
Mm.
that AI AI is going. Let me rephrase this. AI uh, is going to replace jobs. It's going to create jobs, and it's going to change how we work. But it is a tool, and it is something that is going to always, and it grows quickly. But we use AI tools as anybody would, but we're struggling with how it can really go. We're an authentic company. Authenticity is really important to us. Heritage and
Ah,
authenticity.
yeah,
So when
yeah.
you see that AI slop out there and things, we want to make sure that we're good. I mean, the recent Christopher Nolan movie, The Odyssey. One of the reasons why it's getting so much critical acclaim and it's such a popular movie is because it is not computer generated at all.
Mm,
Everything in that movie is real ships, real ocean, real everything,
mm.
and people respond to real. So it's tough right now to figure out AI. I worry in our industry, Rick. I mean, are we heading towards all of our members make workwear and uniforms. I
Mhm.
mean, are we going to make robot uniforms in the future? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know that yet. That's something that's actually come up. Is what's the future in terms of
Well,
work?
my personal opinion is we will be, and we already are in certain parts of the world making robot uniforms, right? Like there are Asia street um, attendants, right, that are directing traffic, and rather than them just having looking like a hard metal robot, they're putting them in textiles so that
Great.
it's more comfortable for the motorist or the pedestrian. It's just more comfortable. So if they're doing whatever they do, so I think that is going to happen. Do I think that that'll be 80% of our business in 10 years? No,
No,
right?
good,
I
good.
think I think we will. I like it's going to replace jobs and it's going to create jobs, just as, all other technology has done. Do I also feel we need tremendous work on guardrails and safety features and privacy issues like you were talking about? And like we need a lot of fencing, right? And it's moving so fast that people are scared we're not going to develop the fencing in time. And I get
Right.
that. And
Yeah.
that's fine. I understand that, and they're right to raise the alarm, because that's how we'll hopefully then solve those problems. But I'm a annoyingly optimistic person. So,
Me too. Great.
boy, it was such a pleasure to speak with you today, Gavin. I really
Well, thanks,
appreciate your
Rick. I really,
time.
really, yeah, thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed, I mean, we've been very recent members of the organization, so we're
Yes,
just looking forward to getting more engaged.
good. Glad to hear it. Again, it's toughduck.com, right?
That's it. That's
You
it.
can check out the products and probably reach Gavin that way,
Anytime,
or
anytime, please.
contact either of us and we'll pass on info.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Gavin.
What a pleasure, Rick. Thanks so much.
This is funny that I can't find the end button. Okay.